The landscape of the NFL is defined by cycles of success and failure. But there exists a profound difference between a team simply enduring a losing season and one trapped in an organizational situation so toxic and structurally flawed that a quick turnaround feels impossible. We are not just looking at records, because any club can suffer a year where the ball doesn't bounce their way. But we are analysing the underlying framework of 4 specific franchises whose current plight is a cocktail of coaching instability, front office malpractice, crippling financial deadweight, and being perpetually dwarfed by superior divisional opponents. These are the 4 situations that are the most disastrous in the NFL today, possessing no clear or easy pathway back to sustained relevancy. Well, we must begin in the AFC West, a division that is currently structured to be a perpetual purgatory for one franchise, the Las Vegas Raiders. Their situation is multi-layered, starting with the sheer, unrelenting dominance of their division rivals, the reigning dynasty in Kansas City, and the increasingly formidable setups in Denver and Los Angeles. To be perpetually chasing Patrick Mahomes is difficult enough, but the organizational response from the Raiders has been a consistent pattern of poor management and a panic-driven coaching carousel. The constant cycle of firing coaches, from Josh McDaniels to Antonio Pierce to the current interim situation, has created a state of organizational whiplash that makes it impossible for any long-term culture or identity to take root. How can a rookie quarterback thrive when he has a new play caller, a new defensive philosophy, and a new chain of command greeting him every other season? The current roster reflects this instability. Outside of a few elite, foundational pieces like Max Crosby and Brock Bowers, the depth is shockingly thin, a direct result of draft selections that have consistently failed to deliver on first or second round capital. The critical error isn't just their 2-8 record. It is the fact that they have already burned through valuable time and capital without finding the long-term solution at the most important position on the field. Even if they secure a high draft pick in the upcoming class, history shows that placing a rookie quarterback behind a revolving door of coaches, an inconsistent offensive line, and within the league's toughest division is a recipe for disaster, not dynasty. The bleak reality for Las Vegas is that they need a complete institutional reset, but their ongoing cycle of hiring temporary fixes and making short-sighted personnel decisions only serve to deepen the hole they are desperately trying to climb out of, making the prospect of being competitive a distant, multi-year fantasy. Moving to the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals find themselves in a complex bind that extends far beyond their middling record. The primary issue is an inextricable link between the front office and the most expensive contract on the roster, quarterback Kyler Murray. While the conversation around Murray has become dominated by whether he is the right long-term answer, the practical difficulty is his contract, which makes a clean break nearly impossible without absorbing a monumental amount of dead cap space. A pre-June 1st trade, while saving money overall, would still leave a significant financial crater in the team's cap space, complicating their ability to attract key free agents to a losing environment. Furthermore, the ability to trade him is restricted not just by money, but by demand. It takes 2 teams to execute a trade, and few organizations are positioned to absorb both his cost and the associated locker room complexities. Adding to this dilemma is the inconsistent performance of recent high-profile draft picks, specifically the underwhelming trajectory of Marvin Harrison Jr. A player who is touted as a generational talent but has failed to deliver the consistent, game-changing impact expected of a top 5 pick a year and a half into his career day. Coupled with the clear miss on other early-round selections, the Cardinals have failed to stack enough talent to insulate their quarterback, regardless of who it is. The situation demands a complete change in leadership, from the head coach to the general manager, but the incoming regime will be burdened with the previous administration's financial decisions and talent evaluation mistakes. They are forced to either trust a quarterback who has been benched or try to find a trade partner for a massive asset, all while operating in a division that contains 2 Super Bowl contenders in the Rams and 49ers, and excellent, defensively sound Seahawks team. The organisational paralysis created by the Murray contract is the single greatest impediment to the Cardinals' future, rendering any attempt at a rebuild a messy, protracted affair. Our next subject is the Tennessee Titans, a franchise whose situation is less about money or draft capital and more about a pervasive, deep-seated institutional instability that originates at the ownership level. The current state of the team is a consequence of a string of preventable mistakes, the most famous of which was the short-sighted decision to trade away a premier, game-changing wide receiver, A.J. Brown, an error that fundamentally disrupted the team's offensive core.
It's offense.
The firing of a highly respected coach, Mike Vrabel, following what was rumoured to be a rift with ownership, further underscores an environment where organisational vision is compromised by personal disputes and short-term thinking. This constant flux in leadership, with general managers and head coaches being cycled through at an alarming rate, creates an environment that is unattractive to premier free agents and top-tier coaching candidates. The roster, as a result, is barren of top 10 talent at critical positions outside of a few defensive anchors. While rookie quarterback Cam Ward has shown flashes of potential, he is trapped in a situation that offers zero support. History teaches us that placing a young, developing passer in an organization defined by turnover and a lack of proven weapons severely limits their potential, often leading to a situation where they are prematurely deemed a failure. The best outcome for the Titans right now is securing the first overall pick, which would offer the chance to inject elite talent into the roster. But even that must be viewed through a skeptical lens. Until the instability at the ownership level is resolved and a cohesive, long-term vision for the football operation is established, any new coach or draft pick will be another casualty of a fundamentally broken structure, making the Titans' path to recovery the longest and perhaps most emotionally taxing for their fan base. Finally, we arrive at the Atlanta Falcons, whose situation has devolved into a multifaceted crisis with the unfortunate injury to their highly drafted quarterback, Michael Penix. The problem here is the combination of an organization already teetering on a leadership change and the loss of the perceived centerpiece of their future. The head coach is on a scorching seat, the general manager has a track record marred by significant draft misses outside of a few key players, and the team is poised for yet another institutional reset. The injury to Penix, whose main concern coming out of college was his durability, throws the entire 2026 plan into immediate chaos, raising serious questions about whether he can be trusted as the long-term solution given his limited and often underwhelming play when healthy. Crucially, the Falcons are entering this probable organizational change without a 2026 first-round pick, having traded it away to acquire a pass rusher. This is a debilitating constraint for a new GM who needs maximum flexibility to fix a roster that has suffered a playoff drought spanning nearly a decade, despite competing in what has been widely regarded as the league's weakest division for the better part of 5 years. The lack of a high first-round pick means the new regime will have fewer avenues to acquire an elite quarterback or to quickly load the roster with premium talent. The Falcons have failed to capitalize on a soft divisional schedule year after year, confirming that their failures are internal and systemic. Now, facing an uncertain future at quarterback, a guaranteed change in leadership, and a lack of premium draft capital, the Falcons' situation is perhaps the most immediately grim, creating a scenario where the new GM and coach are set up for failure before they even walk in the door. In summary, the 4 franchises detailed, the Raiders, Cardinals, Titans, and Falcons, represent the 4 worst situations in professional football today. Their troubles are not defined by a single loss or bad play call, but by deeply ingrained institutional flaws. Whether it is the Raiders' revolving door, the Cardinals' contract paralysis, the Titans' ownership instability, or the Falcons' combination of quarterback uncertainty and lack of draft capital. For fans of these teams, the road back to competence will be long, painful, and defined by overcoming obstacles that were almost entirely self-inflicted.